Yes, you need to become competent at takedowns. So briefly, I'll summarize and then I'll expand later on in the video. But in order to successfully implement your jiu-jitsu, you necessarily have to be good at taking the fight to the ground on your own terms through takedowns. Also, if you are competent at takedowns to the point where you're much better at wrestling/judo than your opponent, you have a much better ability to control the pace, and you can decide where the fight or the grappling match takes place. Additionally, certain concepts from wrestling and judo will translate very well into jiu-jitsu, and so it'll improve your overall grappling game on the ground as well. And at the end of the video, guys, I'll talk about how you can train wrestling safely. So first, you need to take someone to the ground on your own terms in order to be able to successfully implement your jiu-jitsu, right? If I am unable to take an assailant down to the ground, right, the only chance I have to implement my jiu-jitsu is if they decide to take me to the ground. If they decide to keep the fight standing and box me or, you know, kick me or whatever, and I have bad striking and I'm not able to take them to the ground, I'm obviously going to lose. So you need to have a means of taking someone down and implementing your jiu-jitsu. And conversely, guys, that works the other way too if you're a striker. If you're a striker, you need to have good wrestling so that you can keep the fight where you're strong, so that you can keep the fight standing up. Now, for a jiu-jitsu match context, if I'm a better takedown artist than my opponent, not only do I get to control the pace because, you know, if they try to take me down, I can just chill, I can be defensive, I don't have to really be, I'm not really threatened too much by what they're trying to do. But I also have the ability to control where the grappling match takes place. So that's true even if someone pulls guard. So let's say I'm the better wrestler. My opponent knows I'm the better wrestler and they have a choice. They can either wrestle me and, you know, have a small chance of maybe taking me down and getting on top, or they can just pull guard. So I have the choice of either passing their guard or I could sit down as well, right? In a competition context, it may not look pretty, but that's just the way it is. I can decide to pull first, and I can always stand back up and go back into the passing game, and I know that that's what I'm going to be able to do because I can just take them down at will, and they're going to know that as well. And guess what, guys? If they don't know that and I'm really good at takedowns, well, I can take them right down and I can use that momentum to initiate a guard pass right away or right away get into a dominant position. Also, certain things you learn in wrestling and judo will translate well into jiu-jitsu. The base and the grip fighting knowledge that you gain from becoming a good wrestler or a good judoka will definitely benefit your jiu-jitsu game on the ground. So for that reason, it's better even if you're just looking to improve your ground skills to do some wrestling and some judo. You know, Ryan Hall famously, in my opinion, said, you can replace 3/4 of the guard by just standing up on a single leg and not sucking at it, right? So by having basic competence in wrestling, you can get off your back and get back on top and start immediately implementing a top game, implementing a submission game. So for those reasons, I think training wrestling and jiu-jitsu are very important, guys, and you shouldn't neglect it. Now, here's a major concern that some people have when it comes to takedowns. It's like, well, I'm afraid of getting injured. And, you know, fair enough. I've seen a lot of injuries come from wrestling and judo. So here's what I do at my school to make sure that for beginners, it's a safe environment to train takedowns. Number one, when I'm having my students spar, live roll, I don't let anyone with less than 6 months of training start standing, okay? So you can start standing up, passing somebody's guard, or you know, you can start in your guard and have your partner start standing if you're under 6 months. Because I want to make sure that everybody has a good enough concept on how to break fall properly, how to defend against basic takedowns in a way that's not going to put yourself at risk of getting injured, and also how to initiate offense without injuring or potentially injuring your training partner. So those are all important things to learn first. So I make sure that if you're under 6 months, I don't allow wrestling. Now, obviously, I make an exception for people that come in with wrestling or with judo experience. You know, I trust those people to take care of themselves. But for somebody new, I think it's best if they don't. So how do you get somebody that's under 6 months to learn takedowns if you're not allowing them to do it in a live setting? So that's a fair question. So here's what I do. I'll have partners stand up with each other, and I'll tell them, look, you're going to go 3 takedowns each, right? So person A is going to hit 3 takedowns and person B is going to hit 3 takedowns. Now, you guys are going to resist each other 90 to 100% with grip fighting and with positional movement and basic things like collar ties and underhooks. But as soon as someone initiates the takedown, you stop all resistance, you let them finish the takedown, and you just focus on break falling properly, okay? And this is because the injuries in wrestling, they don't happen in the grip fighting exchanges. They don't happen in the initial onsets of moves. They happen in scrambles. They happen when someone initiates a move and maybe their partner reacts in a way that they didn't expect or they didn't do it quite the way they should have, and then that's how injuries happen. So you can have your students work the grip fighting, work the movement, work the positional, the basic initial positional stuff really hard with each other, but once one of the people that's going, right, if it's person A's turn, once they initiate a takedown, person B ceases all resistance, right? And that way person A can work on the finishing mechanics of their move and person B can just work on falling safely to a wide variety of takedowns. So for someone that's under 6 months, that's a great way to have them train takedown safely and to make them understand that, hey, listen, you know, if you guys don't do this properly, people are going to get hurt. And it's important to stress to your students the importance of that. So that's how I would train takedowns. If you guys haven't trained takedowns yet, even if you're an advanced belt and you're kind of afraid of injury, you know, you can train it this way. And it's a very powerful way to get good at grip fighting at the initial movements that are going to set up your moves as well. So you can do so without necessarily getting injured. It works really well for older individuals as well, you know, if they're worried about getting injured in scrambles. So it's one training method that I highly recommend. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you disagree, if there's something you want to expand upon, leave a comment. If you like the video, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when we have new videos out. Hope you guys have a great day.